What is qi? So let's have a little bit of a discussion about the origin of qi. Where did it come from? So the foundational concept of qi is the undifferentiated primordial element akin to Aristotle's Hoyle or the Rishimu in Kabbalistic writings the Ari. What that means is everything would boil down to one single substance, that everything in the universe was made of, it would be this. And the way that the Chinese, though, came to this is a little bit different. So in Aristotle's perspective, it's just about matter, this specific existing thing called matter, and that was differentiated into all the various different elements. Here, those are a little bit different. This is about the observations that were made where things had other properties to them. So, for example, steam transforming into energy to lift a pot lid, that would lay the foundation that a single substance, this idea of qi, was capable of undergoing transformation. Matter affected by form, which, by the way, is very similar to the Greek perspective. But here, though, it's actually the transformative aspect that's looked at as being qi more than the substantive product. It's not the physical aspect, but rather the actual transformations. So qi basically, it takes forms. It becomes solid and liquid, right? And that's the material basis of the universe. But then also qi is about intangible versus tangible. There's infinite number of forms of how things can transform from one to the other and so forth. And also energetic and transformative, meaning movement and change. All of them are considered qi. It's a single unifying concept that goes beyond just the elements, but also deals with the process that the elements go through. So what happens is it's an emphasis on relationship that really makes the difference basically for Eastern thought. Western thought focuses on this idea of elements and ingredients. It's a very static perspective of things. And the Eastern focuses more on the phases and associations, the dynamic nature that these things take, which is pretty cool. It's a very different way of thinking and relating to things. In fact, most of the time when we actually have Western people talking about ideas of qi, they get really fixated on, for example, when doing yin qi and yang qi as this being a yin thing and a yang thing, and they don't understand that yin and yang, and yin yang qi is actually the correct way. It's not just yin and yang. Those are the poles in every relationship. The relative relationships of everything to each other is going to be yin and yang. It's qi, and it's either more yin or more yang. Everything is relatively more yin or yang to something else. Everything's in flux between yin and yang, between 0 and 1, between tangible and intangible, between still and moving, and so forth and so on. So it's actually a relationship, and we're actually looking at and focusing on the relationship again. So yin and yang is not categorization. I can't repeat that enough. Even though you pick up any book in Chinese medicine or any book in Chinese philosophy, and it sometimes will overemphasize the idea of this is yang and that is yin and so forth. And that's not exactly what's going on, because it's all about relative concepts. It's a powerful alternative model of relationships. And this actually, interestingly enough, you see that within Jewish literature, for example, in the idea of Be'erchin in Kabbalistic writings of the Rashash, for example, how they have this relative relationship to things. And the same thing could have different names depending on the relative relationship that whatever you're looking is to something else you're looking at. And they don't change what they are, they change their relationship relative to each other. So this alternative model, this allowed Chinese medical doctors to find patterns of discord and health on a micro level and also on a macro level. Actually, more specifically, they start from macro level. Earth was like this and trees were like this and they reacted in certain ways. But all of that relationship would also then be able to bring it down to the organism, to its, even the person's psyche, the organism's psyche, and the individual little tiny areas in everything. Even if you would apply these same ideas today, this would go so far to even apply even into the world of microbiology and things like that. It's actually a really fairly unexplored approach of thinking. And of course, it requires a mindset change, which is not simple. Anyways, I hope this gives you a little bit of idea what qi is. Qi is not some mystical thing. It is not bombs that come out of your hand and fly. That's not what qi is. But what chi is the fundamental substance, energy, and everything actually that makes up the universe. And actually, very much, for the most part, it fits a much better, closer relationship, the concept of Rishimu that we mentioned in the very beginning that was brought down by the Ari. Actually, this fits even better than the Greek concept of Hylian.